Hi, I'm Danny Flexen for Seconds Out, here with Rodney Williams, trainer for Lucas Browne, who fights Dillian Whyte at the O2 on March 24th. Rodney, how are you?
Very good, Danny, and pleasure to meet you.
You too. What's preparations been like since you've been over here? You've been here a week now, it'll be 2 weeks or just over 2 weeks by fight night. How has it been? How have you been received? What do you make of the UK?
Preparations have been going great so far. We're at where we want to be. The whole thing about peaking too early, tapering off, everything's going well. Been well received in the UK, I must say. Probably gets stopped by more people here, or not myself, but Lucas gets stopped by more people here than what he does back home. And just goes to show the British people are big boxing fans and big lovers of the game, and we want to give them what they pay to see.
You've been working with Lucas for over 2 years now. Initially, it was reported that it was yourself and Nigel Benn working with Lucas. Can you just tell us a little bit about what the setup was then and when it became just you and him?
Initially the whole deal was for me to be the trainer doing all the technical stuff and so forth. Nigel Benn was, in his own words, to be the cheerleader, so to speak, cheerleader and motivator of Lucas. And it wasn't too long into the whole process that sort of Nigel dropped off, being more interested, I guess, just to say, in what Nigel does and what Nigel's doing, as far as you all would know about the fact that there was that potential fight that he was supposed to have with Chris Eubank Jr. and so forth. But like Nigel more or less wanted to focus on himself and focus on what he wanted to do. I was also training Nigel at the time, and that's where he wanted to put his focus. So, it just became myself.
And how has your relationship with Lucas evolved over the last 2 years and the kind of things that you now work on?
Straight off the bat, personality to personality, we got on quite fine. He's a great guy. Music-wise, we're both on the same level.
What level's that, out of curiosity?
R&B, all the slow tunes. There's nothing worse than, it's great to work to music. Boxing is music for me. The tempo, the rhythm, everything. If you want to do some great footwork stuff, the best way to encourage yourself to do some good footwork stuff is throwing some salsa music. Not that I have with Lucas. He's doing well with the footwork and the R&B and the slow tunes, but it's important. It's important, creating atmosphere for training. Boxing's not an easy job by any stretch of the imagination. It's very hard, and if you're not having fun doing it, why bother?
How much do you know about the opposing camp? I'm sure you've studied Dillian Whyte. Do you know much about his training setup?
Not really. Me as a coach, I'm always focused on what I need to do with my athlete, what my athlete needs to do. As we're all people, we all have similar reactions. It's just some people take some longer to get the reaction you desire to get than others do, depending on the toughness of that person. But eventually we'll all react the same way. Trust me, if he's getting punched in the head, he will be putting his hands up. Some people, and once those hands are up, upstairs, go down to the body. But some people, it's going to take them that little bit longer to get those hands up.
Having studied Whyte and obviously knowing Lucas as well as you do, what are going to be the key factors in terms of who wins this fight and how?
The key factor for me is Lucas is a power hitter, always has and always will be. But for me, it's mainly getting him to set up those power shots rather than going in there and looking for the power shots, but be able to set them up. Whether it's to set him up using his feet, whether it's to set him up using his hands, that to me is the key there.
Whyte's known for having a prodigious work rate, something Lucas mentioned as well. He credited him for his work rate. Is that something that you'll need to look to match to secure victory?
Work rate wise, he's always busy, and it's easy to have a high work rate when you're just arm punching and not turning your body in on those punches. So if you're a student of the game or even a professor of the game, you can see these things. He doesn't turn his body. In regards to the Chisora fight, you can see he put some good combinations on Chisora. One punch and probably 3 slaps in a 4-punch combination. But anyone that can see what's going on, whether he's turned the glove in or not, most people out there will probably just watch the number of punches he's thrown as opposed to seeing whether he's turned those punches in properly or not. And for me, there's not that great a concern from the point of view that, yes, he's got a busy work rate due to the fact he arm punches. He doesn't turn his body into punches. And a lot of those punches are slapped in. They're not actually turned in.
As Lucas's trainer, do you have any preference in terms of whether he wins by decision or knockout, or are you just happy to get the victory and he looks good?
I want Lucas to look good. I want Lucas to look impressive. It does help. That was my initial thing when Lucas came to me. I said, "You're a good fighter. You got good knockouts and everything." But as far as me wanting to watch you, I'll probably watch someone else. But since then, Lucas has developed a lot more savviness within what he does. For me, like I always said to him, I want you to be that shark in a swimming pool with a sea lion. Even though you haven't bit the sea lion yet, you're still looking good and you're still looking dangerous. And it's that old adage, whether it's soccer or whether it's any other sport, what are you doing when you've got the ball, or what are you doing when you're punching? And more importantly, focus on the things that you're doing when you're not punching or when you don't have the ball. And that's where a lot of people fall short, is what are they doing when they're not punching.
What are the challenges in working with someone for the first time when they hit their mid-30s, as opposed to working with someone when they're still a teenager?
The challenges, although I haven't had any of these challenges with Lucas, to be honest, most of the time the challenges is you're trying to put stripes on a leopard or put spots on a tiger, and it just doesn't work. However, you can get a young kid in like a 6, 7, 8-year-old, and there's a lot of people doing that these days, starting their kids very young, and they absorb everything and they do everything. However, come 16, 17, 18, like all men out there, there's 3 hurdles in life we need to jump: the booze and the drugs, the girls, and the pubs and the clubs. Sometimes you've got this kid that's absolutely magnificent, does everything he needs to do, up until the age of about 16, 17, all of a sudden those 3 hurdles in life hit him. And sometimes the kids bump all 3 and lay down. Sometimes they bump 1 and lay down. Sometimes they hit those 3 hurdles and clear them. But the good thing being, someone comes to you at that age, be it 19, 20. Some people say it's very late to start in the game. But from a coaching point of view, at least you know that kid's already gone through those 3 hurdles, found out that those things to a certain extent aren't for them, and they're in that boxing gym for a reason. And they'll be more dedicated than a 5, 6, 7, or 8-year-old that has got nothing better to do. Mum and dad drives them to the gym. They're looking good, but those 3 hurdles in life. Like I've had a lot of kids come through my gym over the years, and I've seen those 3 hurdles pop up in many of their lives, and they've been excellent amateurs, and they hit those 3 hurdles and fall over.
You were obviously in Chechnya with Lucas for the Chagayev fight. And there were issues surrounding possible contamination and not a situation anyone would want to repeat. Since that's happened, how much more careful are you around everything in terms of the pre-fight build-up?
It's important to be careful about things, but also it's not healthy to be paranoid about things, and then that for me is more important, about not being paranoid about what you eat and what you're touching and so forth. It's good to be cautious, but where I keep an eye on Lucas is just make sure he's not paranoid about everything he does. That he does go out and enjoy a meal. But Chechnya is a whole different situation, where basically the guy we were fighting, Chagayev, his boss or his main guy was Ramzan Kadyrov, the president of the country. So if he wanted to give the police photos of me and Lucas and distribute that to every restaurant that was there, yes, that could be done. So you could. That's a place where you would want to be paranoid.
Yeah, I'm not sure Theresa May is particularly aware of who Dillian Whyte is, never mind a fan of his, so I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, no. So that's good. Like I said, we can go where we need to go. Like the main problem is within the supplements industry for me, you got to be careful, all kids and everyone, about what supplements you take, only from the point of view that, I could be making a supplement. I got a little pot here where I'm mixing up Rod's pre-workout, and mix that, and it's all clean, it's all clear, and then we empty that out into a number of jars, and then all of a sudden we make Rod's pre-workout plus, and that's got something that's not necessarily illegal, but it's actually banned, and this is where a lot of people need to make the distinction between what's illegal and what's banned Because it's just, if someone's been done for a banned substance, you don't taint them by saying, "Oh, they're taking illegal stuff." They're taking,
Because if a non-athlete had taken it, it wouldn't be an offence.
Yeah, exactly,
Basically.
exactly. So people got to be careful there with language. But like I said, you're making that pre-workout plus in a particular pot, mixing it around, and you've put that banned substance in there because that's what actually makes the product work for you and gives you a good name. And everyone will know that Rod's pre-workout plus is better than Rod's pre-workout. But if they're not cleaning that pre-workout plus pot out and then going to mix the other batch in there, there's going to be cross-contamination. And at the end of the day, for the safety of all athletes and so forth, there needs to be some sort of
greater regulation of the supplement industry.
Yeah, brought upon that. Yeah.
You've got around 8 days to go now until the fight. Tell us what the last week in the build-up to the fight will look like, tapering off and so on.
For us, we know that one of the biggest hurdles probably within those last 6-7 days is the media. It's just making sure that the first priority is training rather than media. I think for even any of the kids out there, the best one you could probably watch is the Mayweather versus Guerrero build-up to that fight, where Mr. Guerrero was just so happy he had all that media in front of him and had time to explain himself and be who he wanted to be to the media. And it was just quite funny the way they'd show him late at night, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, giving media conferences and media speeches and so forth. And then I'll show you where Mr. Mayweather was, and he'd be back in his gym training. So, first and foremost, training.
Brilliant.
Second, but there will be a lot of it leading up to this.
We wish you the very best of luck for March 24th for yourself and Lucas. And
Thank you very much, Daniel.
Thanks for joining us, Rodney.
You're welcome.